Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com or our official YouTube account. I am your host, Jacob Tiranno, and as you can see, I'm not at AMC Town Square, but in the office about to do a review of the new movie, Adrift. The reason why I'm not with Mr. James Shue or at AMC is because I'm going to be going away for a little bit, so this review is coming at you a bit early, but still, nonetheless, I got to make sure my review gets to you. So, Adrift is the new film that's opening this week based on a true story, basically about a couple who go sailing across the Pacific, going from Tahiti to San Diego, and end up getting caught in a storm and left on the water adrift. The film was directed by Baltasar Kormákur. He brought us Adrift most recently, which I thought was an okay film. I didn't love it, but I thought that there was some good things happening in that film. Shailene Woodley, obviously coming off of, some questionable choices like the Divergent series and things like that. But I remember seeing her very early in The Descendants with George Clooney and thinking she was really talented and that this actress could really bring some powerful stuff. Also with Sam Claflin, who is going to be playing her love interest in the movie, who is also on the boat as they sail in the ocean. Now, this movie, I would say, opened up relatively strong. Not box office wise, I just mean like as far as the story goes. I mean, the movie kind of immediately throws us into the aftermath of the storm. Shailene Woodley is waking up and realizing that the ship is destroyed by the storm and that they are in some serious trouble. And then the movie goes back and forth from the current situation of them being adrift in the ocean and to where they met in Tahiti and them kind of falling in love. Now, I thought that was an interesting choice. At first I thought it kind of worked for the movie because it kind of gave us breaks from these like very long, dramatic moments of losing hope, regaining hope, and the things that you would see in a normal movie like this. But as the movie progressed, the less interesting all of it became. I think also knowing their relationship at the beginning of the movie kind of predetermines how we take their relationship. The relationship blossoms and we see how we get to, we start at point B, but we eventually get to point A. But because of that relationship's predetermined and it doesn't get to become its real own fresh thing. It's just like this relationship's happening regardless if you were there for the beginning or not. We'll tell you about it. But it doesn't really develop the best way possible. I don't think the two actors had the best chemistry. I think it worked for this film. I think Shailene Woodley is quite good in it. But beyond that, I really don't have anything harsh to say, but positive to say either. I think the problem with Adrift is that it's a movie that feels very mediocre. It doesn't do much to kind of stand out and tell a specific story. I mean, of course, at the heart of this, there is a true story that is remarkable and amazing, but Adrift never feels that it's at that capacity, that it's at that caliber of consequence. And, of course, being stranded on a boat in the middle of the ocean is terrifying, but everyone, they always seem like they're in control a bit. Of course, there are the moments where it's like, oh boy, this is the moment where we realize we're going to die type of thing. They think they're going to die out there in the ocean. But it just never feels like we're really at the point where that's a possibility. Now, I won't get into the true story because I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody in any way, even though that actually might be different than how the true story went and how the movie went. But overall, there's not much for me to say about this movie. That I thought it was fine. I don't think it was, about an hour in the movie, and we're kind of really getting to the height of being lost at sea. They're really struggling for food and water, is where I kind of just tuned out. I mean, I would say for the first 45 minutes, I was interested. I was starting to bite like a fish, and everything, and I was like, okay. But then the movie just kind of flows like a boat on the water. I mean, it does. It just kind of, drifts there in the middle of the ocean, and it just kind of gets old after a while, and that's kind of a bummer. I think Shailene is only good enough to bring this movie to a certain degree, but there needs. I mean, it's hard because like obviously there's challenges, right? Like there are challenges when you're stranded on an ocean. But the movie never lets us really kind of absorb those challenges, everything is is usually resolved or figured out, and then it goes back to, oh, this is very serious, but let's be happy, let's enjoy each other type thing. And that rhythm really kind of goes out of whack towards that second act. And then the film's resolution. The film's climax kind of meets up when we actually finally see the storm that caused this incident, and where they are now being adrift for so long. It kind of coincides. And for me, it just didn't work. I just think at that point, everything just kind of seemed too easy and too tied. I don't want to say tied to bow, because again, I know obviously this is based on a true story. Before everyone flips out on me and like, oh, this really happened though, Jake. That's of course. True stories happen all the time, but that doesn't make it believable in a movie sense. And just because it happened in real life doesn't mean I have to believe what the movie's telling me, right? Because the movie, it's a story of its own. Granted, it's based off of a true story. It does its own to tell a story, and if I'm not convinced or I'm not believing everything, then that hurts the movie. Overall, I was just, that last, especially the third act and kind of the resolution of everything really just didn't work for me, and everything was just like, oh, okay, like this is, all right. And obviously, I think there are some good things here, and like Everest, I think there are movies that really want to touch on humanity versus nature, and just how little we are in this huge, vast world of things created by Mother Earth, right? Like, Everest focused on people trying to climb Mount Everest, and just how, humans are so microscopic in terms of what Mother Nature can do. And same here, we have two characters stuck in the middle of the ocean. Nothing more terrifying. And, me also being a person who's terrified of the ocean, who would never get on a sailboat, because the idea of being stranded in the water and then getting dehydrated in the middle of a vast ocean would just drive me insane. I mean, I think that's the most horrifying thing in the world. So already going in, this movie's touching on something that personally does terrify me. But again, I wasn't really there in the moment, kind of going through these challenges with the characters. And for me, that kind of let it be mediocre. This movie does remind me of a film that came out, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 years ago, starring Robert Redford. And it was called All Is Lost, 2013. Wow, so it was actually 5 years ago. Man, time flies. But I thought that film, which is about a sailor who, finds himself adrift and kind of stuck at sea, was far more powerful, far more engaging. And, they felt very similar in the sense that their plot is somewhat similar, obviously minus the love story, as All Is Lost. Robert Redford is alone. But that movie's challenges and the impact and how Robert Redford reflected touched me far more on an emotional basis. Everyone knows that follows my stuff. I'm a sap. It's easy for me to get me emotional and to be upset. And this movie never really did that for me. I just think overall that was just in its... it's really kind of a script issue. I don't think the direction was bad. I think a lot of the scenes played really well. I think there was some great cinematography. Like, the movie looks good a lot of times. I think the performances were fine. There wasn't enough meat for me to really dig my nails into and to really be moved or be touched by this story. So yeah, that's going to be my review of Adrift. I won't get into spoilers, so try not to get into spoilers. I know, the spoilers in Adrift, that's so funny to say. But there is some things that you could spoil about this movie, but try not to in the comments. But let me know if you liked it. Ocean's 8 will be coming out next week at AMC Town Square. Make sure to review your tickets. Comment below or text Mr. James. You go to his channel and hit him up, as he will be doing his premiere at AMC Town Square, and he wants to join you. He'll be reviewing Ocean's 8. If I get to review it, I don't know just yet, but there will be a review for Ocean's 8 up. And then, don't worry, I will be back just in time for Incredibles 2. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Check out all the cool stuff we've been doing on Chasing Cinema. My name is Jake Tiranno, and as always, please continue chasing cinema.